Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this 107th meeting of the Jacksonville Tourism Development Authority to order. And thank you for coming, and thanks for those watching on G10. First off, we have to adopt the agenda, and I will take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. So we're going to talk about next year, I guess, already. So, Anthony, thank you.
It's hard to believe that we're moving towards 2026 already, but it is the time of year where we consider our upcoming year meeting calendar. And the reason is mainly because Rose says so, which is a good reason. But in practicality, what we have to do is we have to establish our meeting calendar so then that can be rolled into the city's overall calendar of boards and commissions, and then can be approved by the city council prior to January 1. So given the fact that we only have one meeting, one regular meeting between now and the beginning of next year, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully take care of this so that we can get the clerk and her staff, a leg up on setting that schedule for next year. So the proposal before you this afternoon is very similar to what we've been doing for, I believe, the past 2 years. And we're going to alternate regular meetings and workshop meetings. Of course, our promise to you is that if there is a meeting coming up where we do not have any meaningful business, then we will ask the chairman to consider canceling that meeting. You know, we want to have respect for everybody's time. But at the same time, we typically take one meeting off during the summer. At this point, it's in August. And then we do not meet in December for the holidays. So again, you see the alternating meetings, workshop versus regular meeting. We will not take action in workshops. We only do that here on television in front of G10. November 19th has been moved up 1 week, and that's because of the Thanksgiving holiday. I mean, we could come in here and have turkey and fixins, but I figured you probably want to be with your families, and so would I. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have or entertain any modifications to the schedule that you all feel are appropriate.
I would not expect any questions. All right, so we would like a motion to approve the 2026 meeting schedule.
So moved.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we can move right into agenda item number 2, our legislative budget amendment, spending plan modification.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the last time you'll have to listen to me during this meeting, so I'm sure you're all relieved, but you're going to have to bear with me on this one because it's a little bit complicated, okay? I'm going to do my best to explain it from the lectern here, but I also want to point out to, let's see, what page is this? It's page number 8 of the agenda package here. Looks like this. It's got the table with the yellow highlights on it. This should help. This is visually a good way to kind of show you what we're intending on doing here. And as you recall, over the past 2 workshops, we've talked about many different initiatives that we could participate on. And given the feedback from the directors, it appears that there was general consensus on 4 of those initiatives. One of those being the Carolina Museum of the Marine, partnering with the county on a marketing plan to help build awareness leading up to their grand opening and then afterward. This includes a direct mail program, billboards, radio spots, digital advertisement, a whole number of things. And of course, the dialogue that we had at the last workshop was, this is the kickoff. We're going to try to make them successful, give them the best leg up that we can. I mentioned that the county is a partner. In fact, what you're looking at here from our funding is phase 2 and 3 of the marketing plan. But the county has already funded, and we are now in the process of implementing phase 1, which is a pretty significant direct mail as well as some other things. Sturgeon City, one of our great partners, the promotional video that they currently have was created in probably 2006, I would say, somewhere around in there. Glenn could tell us more about it, but it's quite dated. And the mission, capabilities, the assets, a lot of things about Sturgeon City have changed. And so we felt that programming $10,000 to help offset that cost was reasonable. I've seen a rough cut of that video, and it really looks amazing. I mean, it's very flattering of everything the community's done to support Sturgeon City and, of course, what they do. Blue Nalu, this one was presented to you by Tabitha at the last workshop, and the intent here is to get into more research data. As you recall, over the past several years, we've looked at many different options, and each one has their pros and cons. In this case, we would like to do a pilot with Blue Nalu. The reason is because it's a really great price point for what they're going to give us, and they highly customize the data to meet our needs. Glenn's going to speak to you later today about some data related to hotel occupancy and things of that nature. But what we don't currently have is data related to the actual visitor themselves. Where do they come from? Why are they here? How much money are they spending? What are they doing? So far and so forth. But with this data, we're hoping to basically stretch the value of all of our marketing that we do every year. So I'll stop right here and just mention that the first three, these are all promotion eligible expenditures. So we're talking about money out of the promotions category of our budget. The last one is not, and this is for the Veterans Tribute event that we have in November. We're talking about, we were requesting to add $5,000 to the budget in this case, but originally what we had talked about was adding significantly more. Given a few changes that occurred along the ways, we modified the whole concept here. We're going to have two music, we're going to have two artists, basically, one solo artist and then a band who's going to be the closer. The one solo artist was the individual who actually won our Battle of the Bands last year. So we're going to have two music artists, and then we're going to culminate the evening with fireworks, which is, to me, pretty spectacular, but come to find out it's a lot cheaper than the laser light show that we had paid for before, and the logistics just aren't nearly as challenging. So all that being said, these are the initiatives that we're hoping to fund with the two actions that we are requesting from the Board of Directors today. So let's talk about the request. So on your table here on page 8, you can see about halfway down the page that we have an unassigned balance in the promotions category of our budget of $181,000. And the expenditures that we would like to program for that category are $240,000. So in order to make this happen, what we would first have to do is to approve a legislative budget amendment and the amount shown here on the screen to add revenue to the budget to offset the cost. Now, of course, that comes from the promotions fund balance, and that fund balance is still very healthily over $1 million. The second action that would need to occur is to approve the spending plan. That would, the spending plan modification that would then allocate the funding to those individual projects within the promotions line. And then it would also take the $5,000 from our tourism-related unassigned balance, which is about, it's on your page 8 here, about 2/3 down the way. So we would take $5,000 from that unassigned balance and put it towards Veterans Tribute. All of the movements and money are shown there in yellow, and you can see where both of the unassigned line items are currently and where they would be if the budget amendment and the spending plan modification were approved. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On the money that's targeted to go to the Marine Museum, how is it going to be tracked?
Teresa. Teresa is the one who's in charge of executing all of that work. So it's very similar to how we contribute money to each one of our events every year. You know, we say that it's going to a certain cause, but in actuality, what it does is it goes to Teresa, who then implements a marketing plan through her company, and she invoices us back for those expenditures.
So it will be just like we've done with, say, the Filipino festival. or
Absolutely.
thing. So it's something, it's not going to go like
So
we
if you-
tried to avoid in the past to.
Yes, if you
intermediary.
look back to page 7 here, you know, where it says promotion event requests about halfway down the page, it's basically the same approach as we use for all of those events that we support with marketing effort.
That's reassuring. On the blue, I'm sorry, did you have anything else? Blue, how do you
Blue
pronounce it?
Nalu?
Nalu. What time frame was that?
I believe it's 6 months, 4 months.
4 months. And we discussed the possibility of partnerships, but didn't we at last meeting about partnering with somebody else with the company or not?
Would you like to come up and answer?
You may be referring to Placer. Is that ringing a bell for you? So Blue Nalu is the company, they're the data analytics company, and so they would be using Placer's data. And so that is not an additional fee in that at all. He is able to get that Placer data.
And what, again, it's 4 months. What 4 months is it?
If it's approved today, it would start immediately in October. So it would be October, November,
Okay.
December, January. Yes, October through January.
Through January.
The way our contracts typically work, if they are stated 4 months, you know, a 4-month period, it'd be from the date that the contract is actually signed. And then when you were talking about partnerships, you may have been referring to possibly working with the chamber as well as others to make this data available to small businesses in the community. That's something that we can definitely pursue. But the reason that we're working the pilot is to get into it, see how it works, see if we want to continue doing business with them. And if so, then we can kind of drill down on some of those other options.
Does this work similar to what that program that the economic development
Yes.
tried for a little while, very similar?
Yes, so the program that you're referring to is Buxton.
Okay.
And as you recall, we talked about, you know, working with them as a group probably 3 years ago. The challenge with Buxton is that it's not specifically related to tourism.
Retail.
It's retail, and it's also much, much, much more expensive. So even though $25,000 is a lot of money, I certainly understand that. In the grand scheme of things with you know, tourism data, it's not that big of an investment. It's actually a pretty good deal. And I think the reason that we're able to work with Blue Nalu is because of Tabitha's previous relationship in Surf City, where she was working with the owner of the company to help develop the software. And so this is still in progress, and you know, he's giving us somewhat of a discount in order to help continue evolving that business. At the end of the 4 months, if we choose not to move forward, then we can certainly do that. If we decide to move forward, we could do that too. If this is something you would like to hear more about, we can make this decision another day as well.
Just a quick question on that. What are you going to use to decide whether it's successful or not? What criteria are you looking for?
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to have specific metrics that we're going to be able to give you, at least initially. It's going to give us lots of metrics on how the area itself is performing in regards to tourism, but I would say the way that we could measure how well it's working for us is based upon how much it's influencing what our marketing looks like in the upcoming fiscal year. So with the data that we get back from Blue Nalu, we're hoping to calibrate a lot of our marketing effort to make sure it's more pinpoint targeted to people who are most likely to come here. And in fact, what we've seen thus far, it really identifies some trends that are very unique that we weren't really aware of. There's some pretty specific markets out there. We were talking about one, and I think it was in Ohio or something that Teresa and I were talking about. It's a really strong market for Jacksonville somehow. You know, and so learning things like that, being able to pinpoint those markets and to grow them, that's what we're hoping to do with this type of data.
So really, you're not going to know for a while whether it's good information or not, because until you receive the information, digest it, and then pattern or push your marketing out to those groups, and then if you see an increased response, I'm guessing is how you're going to determine
Sure.
whether.
Well, I think there'll be short-term indicators and then there'll be long. So, you know, the 4-month pilot program, that'll get us data to hopefully make some really good decisions for spending in the upcoming fiscal year. So you'll start to see those recommendations come out as we develop the budget for fiscal year 27. Now, the overall impact of those decisions won't be visible until, you know, the subsequent year when that data starts to come in. So. But this is definitely a case where we would like to work smarter, not harder, and make the dollar work for us a lot more efficiently.
That's it. We can move on to the opportunity to approve the legislative budget amendment.
Is this going to require, can we roll it into one vote? Or does it require a separate vote for each one?
Well, I would prefer personally that we do two because we're approving an ordinance.
Right.
And then we're doing a budget action, so.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I would submit that you want the legislative budget amendment first?
Right.
Okay.
Please.
That we approve as presented by the staff.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we can,
And I would further recommend that we approve, or ask to approve the spending plan modification plan as submitted by the staff.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Very good, okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
That hard work being done, we'll move right on to the presentations items, and we look forward to seeing, where is Scott? Scott hiding behind the pavilion, okay. Scott Smith, welcome.
Good afternoon. Always good to come give you an update. I'll be fairly quick today, and then be happy to answer any questions. And you guys all received the email, so hopefully, you know, you've seen a lot of this, but when we finished up our last fiscal year, so we attempt to track all sporting events, not just the ones we do, if we can get that information, because I think it's important for all of us to know. And the estimated economic impact from last fiscal year was a little over 2.9 million from sporting events in Onslow County, and estimated 11,666 room nights. So you can see that the economic impact, that was up over 701,000 over previous year, and then the room nights was up over 2,000 from previous year. And again, some of that is growth in events, some of that is new events, some of that is getting information on an event that maybe we didn't have information on previously. So a little bit of everything there, but always good to see numbers going up in those areas. And obviously with some of the things on tap for the future, that should continue to happen, hopefully. Since the new fiscal year started, We've hosted a couple events. We had our annual Freedom Fight in conjunction with the All-Marine Boxing Alumni. The estimated economic impact on that was a little over $58,000 and 171 room nights. This same weekend, we hosted our second Onslow Cup disc golf event. That's a smaller event, but one that we think can continue to grow a little bit. We're looking at maybe a different date because of being so rainy in August, but that was 19 room nights estimated on that one. And then for coming up the remainder of the calendar year, we have 3 races, and then you also have the Miles for Mammos race that's part of our series. So there's 4 races remaining, and you can see ours are the first Saturday of each month for the next 3 months. So if you would like to see me in a mullet wig, you can come down to Swansboro next Saturday. We have our Moving Mullet 5K. And it's a lot of fun. People do put on mullet wigs and wear bright clothes and have a good time with it. And then our Fuzzy Peach Trail Run is out at Hines Farm on November 1st. You run through the woods and then eat some frozen yogurt. We added a kids pack this year with a 1 mile for the kids, and they get the yogurt and all that good stuff. And then kind of a new concept for us, we've always obviously done the year-end awards for the race series and all that recognition. And we've typically done it at one of the YMCA races, but we changed it up this year. We're going to just have a fun run. It's not going to be timed, and it's going to be cheap. And we're using leftover bibs and medals. And so when they get to the finish line, they'll have a grab bag. They won't know what the medal is inside. Then they can trade and do whatever they want. And we'll make the year-end awards a little bit of a bigger deal, because in the past, it was kind of an afterthought after the awards for that race. So hopefully that will be a new concept. That'll be a good concept for us. And then last thing is I just wanted to highlight, obviously, a lot of the same events will be coming back next year, but 4 things that I just wanted to point out. So if you remember last year, we hosted 2 Fuji Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu events for the first time. Those 2 events combined had over 375 room nights. So they were very good for year 1, being in a new market. They are coming back again in January and June with 2 events. The big thing for us was, if you remember, we bid on and got the Silver Gloves Regional. It ended up being our largest economic impact and room night event last year, even bigger than ECI, which ECI has been king forever. And that was with the ice storm across a good part of the Southeast, and we lost probably a minimum of 80 boxers because of that. But we got that coming back. So those numbers from last year were estimated economic impact was 227,745 and 655 room nights. So we expect that to be larger, assuming there's no more winter storms. Because it's an even year, our semi-annual Hall of Fame event will be happening again next year. And then in conjunction with all of the America 250 stuff, we're doing a Stars and Strides 5K. It's going to be on a Sunday evening. And we're going to try to do, it'll have some extra fun things with, if you pick the right package, you'll get American flag socks and, just a lot of added bonus. And then at the finish line, we'll have birthday cake and do some different things. And we've initially talked about that being right out here on Newbridge Street so that we can continue to highlight that area. But that's just a quick little look back and look forward, but I'll be happy to answer any questions or comment on anything.
Great job.
Thanks.
Yeah. So how did Mr. Hagan do in the arm wrestling contest?
They didn't call me up.
Yeah, I think they were scared of Mr. Hagan, and they no, it was here again this year, and I don't know how that's, as far as that company was kind of a newer company, but obviously they made it through another year, so I guess they're continuing to grow and do better.
Okay.
Well, I checked out the site, and it didn't, nothing for the 80s. There's no over 80s. So I won by default.
You won by default, yeah. That's what Bob used to say when he did our races. He's like, there's not too many people in my category. I bet I'll get first place.
Hey, we're on it. I usually beat most of the wheelchairs and crutches, yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for your continued support. We appreciate it and look forward to continuing our partnerships.
No,
Scott,
thank
Thank
you.
you, man.
Thank you for what you
And
do.
you do a whole lot with a large staff, right?
Yep.
2.5 of them.
Yeah, 2.5.
Mr. Chairman, if we could just go back to that dollar figure slide. That's grown significantly over the past couple of years. And I think, I reiterate this every year when Scott does his presentation, our investment and the Sports Commission continuing to increase that over time has really generated some results. And so just think about what this is going to be like once the Uptown Jacksonville project is complete. We have the indoor facility as well as the outdoor rectangular fields. I mean, the sky's really kind of the limit at that.
And a lot of this is thanks to your investment and Susan and her staff allowing us to use the commons. And I know it can be a pain on them, but when you're able to get something like the Silver Gloves with those numbers I just gave you, until we have that additional facility. But you guys have invested in New River Splash and other things that we've been able to kind of enhance and grow, and so we appreciate it. Yeah. Get you back to there. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Take care, thanks, Scott.
So now we can get on to our item number 4, our marketing promotions update. Lisa? Good afternoon.
Welcome back to summer. So since we last met, we have the Marine Corps Half Marathon. I want to give you a flash report on that. Was September 13th. For the first time since I've been working with this group, they were able to sell out the event. So they have a capacity of 1,400, and they sold out, I think, 10 days ahead of time. So that was super to hear. So our efforts are working there. And they changed a couple things. They changed the timing company and added a couple things to keep it fresh. So I'm sure that helped a little bit as well. No surprise that some 75% of the runners are under 40. And it's almost evenly split, 43% female. And when we first started working with them, one of the things that Glenn Hargett, what we decided we wanted to do under his advisement was, we need to do something to differentiate this half marathon against other half marathons. It's flat, we don't have a trail run or anything. So one of the things, we did 2 big things with the race. One was the Heroes Mile. The addition of the Heroes Mile has made a tremendous difference in participation. It's really attractive. People we hear nothing but positive feedbacks. It is a 1-mile track along the race of 13 miles. It's like at mile 5, I think, and it honors heroes that have died in combat. So we grabbed a couple of the emotional pictures. And I skipped that one, I'll go back to it. The other significant thing that was done was, people, other than running the whole race aboard a military installation, which is really advantageous, I guess, attractive to someone who's not in the military. And one of the other things we did was there is standing at the finish line, there is a Marine, an active duty Marine in dress blues who will place the medal around the runner's neck. And that has made a big difference as well. So just took a couple of shots of that. These are here for entertainment. The guy on the right over here was the first place winner overall. He's here for schooling for a couple weeks from like Norway or somewhere, and he heard about the race, wanted to run it, ended up running it in 1 hour and 16 minutes. That's ridiculous. He didn't even look like he was sweating. I mean, he really had not even overdone himself. Now, the other guy was just glad to make it to the end.
I was looking at them knees, man.
That would have been definitely me.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on, I just want to point out about this race here. MCCS is not allowed to advertise off-post for this particular event, for really any of their races. And so that's why our partnership with them is very important. We were able to bring 1,400 people into the community, have a great time. express their appreciation for the service of our fallen veterans. And it's all because we are willing to put that external marketing in place to get people here.
And historically, they have been one of the better overnight generators, too, of all the events that we fund. So they are greatly appreciative. And we will have more information. This is a flash report because it was just 2 weeks ago. They're still doing their survey. They keep it open, I think, for 30 days. So when they get that complete, we'll get some economic impact numbers and be able to present that at the next meeting. Want to remind you, tomorrow night is Rock the Block, our celebration of the completion of our New Bridge Street, the city's New Bridge Street project. And the street will be closed from 5 to 9. This has been in the works for several months, and it has come together nicely. We're all super excited about it. So the street will be closed, New Bridge Street will be closed from the middle school down to City Hall with a beer garden on each end and the stage in the middle. On the stage, we have 2 artists that will perform, and one is our local Elijah Harris. And the other one is Joe Brown and the band. And there'll be, I'm sorry. There we go. There'll also be, our downtown businesses will be featured, and they're bringing their store out into the street in front of their business. And so we'll have the New Bridge Street businesses as well as Court Street businesses are coming up to participate, and then the rest of it will be filled in with additional artisans. And so there'll be 90 vendors and food trucks, and Zing Zum will have a big children's area, so it'll be a fun family night. So make plans to come attend.
Elijah, just to get back to that slide. Elijah is actually one of our Jacksonville firefighters. So just wanted to put a plug in for that as well. He was also a member of the group that went to Denver for our All-American City competition. So
I tried to go back to the slide. My clicker is not clicking. Sorry. So upcoming events want to keep on everybody's radar is also we have the Veterans Tribute coming up November 1st through the 11th. The first weekend is Veterans Powwow, which is Saturday and Sunday, the 1st and 2nd. And the second weekend is November 7th, kicks off with Red, White, and Salute at the Commons, which has a nice lineup. And that will be, we have 2 artists, Will Morton, who Anthony already mentioned will be there, and then a second band. We wanted to, really wanted to take the entertainment to the next level to create more draw to the event. So this will do that. The second artist performing is Lanco. It's a country act. And they've had several really big hits, so that should do pretty well. Then we'll also have, like Anthony said, food trucks, the bull riding, and the axe throwing, and fireworks at the end of the night. We'll also have, I'd be remiss if I did not mention, Winterfest will round out the year on December the 6th. That's always such a great event. Wanted to give you, we thought we'd share just a couple of takeaways from our Visit and See monthly webinar. They did a quarterly update. I'll first say about Visit and See that everything they do is data-driven. We were talking about data, and you guys were asking questions a little bit ago. Everything they do, everything is strategic, and it's all every placement they do, all the money that they spend to reach out to put North Carolina's message in front of people to attract them to come here is based on research findings. And they have done such a significant job. You've heard us mention this, I think, earlier in the year, that North Carolina moved up to the 5th most visited state in the country. And all the while, North Carolina has one of the smallest state tourism budgets of any state in the country, certainly in the Southeast and in the country. So they do one heck of a job. So STR and Tourism Economics have downgraded their hotel forecast for the next couple of years, not by a ton, but I see Rick shaking his head and Jay, so you guys may want to elaborate, but they're predicting that travel will be down probably 1%, not quite 1%, across the board for the country, or for North Carolina, I'm sorry, for economics. And then the ADR is forecasted to be down like maybe 0.5%. Rick, would you like to elaborate on that? You're squirming in your chair.
I concur. Jay concurs.
So,
It doesn't seem like a lot.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is.
right.
Yeah.
Right, so this is not great news, right? However, I will say, according to Visit NC, they have engaged in a study super recent with MMGY, who is an authority in travel research, and North Carolina, because of what they've been able to do, travelers have a more positive perception of North Carolina than most of our competing states. The interest in coming to North Carolina across the board is up significantly. So if we can hang on to that, North Carolina will be okay. That will translate to us, and I'll get to that. But one note also is the beach stood out across all demographics, Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, people with money, people with a little bit less money. Everybody wants to put their toes in the sand. So the beach was number one across the board on what people want to see. So all in all, North Carolina typically fares well in a downturn economy. It's drivable, it's easy, it's proximity on the eastern seaboard, and it's perceived as affordable. All the same things that Jacksonville is and what we promote our destination as. We have a lot to do. We have great hotels that are affordable, so we're going to stay on the same path and continue promoting. I will tell you that, we're happy with the work that we've done, and we've done some great things, but the research that we're going to be able to invest in with Blue Nalu is going to really help. It will help us measure some ROI with the Sports Commission. It'll tell us what people are doing when they're in town, where they're going, what hotels they're staying at, and how they're spending their money. We can use it as soon as the powwow. We can use it for Scott's events. So as soon as we get online with him, we'll be reporting back, I'm sure, some information, monthly in our meetings. So I feel like that's a perfect segue to Glenn Hargett, who's going to share some,
Before we
I'm
go to
sorry,
the
questions.
data,
Yes.
I know we're all reluctant to change, and I am too, but I wanted to get a little update. It's not our event, but I need to remind everybody, or myself, National Night Out is...
National Night Out will be October 11th at the Jacksonville Commons.
So-
I believe it starts at 6 o'clock. Don't hold me to that, but it's in the evening. And the reason that we moved it to the Commons is because they needed more room. Riverwalk Park just didn't provide enough room for them. The other feedback that I got from the chief today is that by moving it to the Commons, the police officers themselves don't have to spend as much time on traffic control, so they can actually be part of the event, which was a huge incentive for them. So looking forward to National Night Out.
Is that a Tuesday as well, still?
It usually is,
I know,
yeah.
usually, that's what I thought.
It's a Saturday.
Starts at 4:30.
Starts at 4:30, so don't listen to me at all. Let's make sure it's on the 11th.
Information here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 8th.
But yes, we're all looking forward to National Night Out this year, especially since it's in October and it's not going to be 170 degrees outside.
Okay, well, thanks for that somewhat information.
Any questions?
Yeah, no.
I forgot all about it. Me too.
We sound like we're getting a repetition on that point about data, but I'm getting ready to show you some data that these people provide to us, our hoteliers, And we consider that empirical, and you saw, obviously, the occupancy tax returns are empirical data. What makes people come here and spend their money? What drives them here? That's the question that the Blue Nalu is going to help us with. And the point is, you need, one of the advantages of the dude doing it, he's a researcher. I mean, he's into statistical science and all of those things, and he has interns, student interns, that'll really dive into this data and see what correlations there are. I can't tell you all the correlations for the occupancy stuff, but I will tell you that that STR deciding to down their estimates, that's monumental. That doesn't normally happen from a group like that. They're very much accountant-type people, that just takes the data, puts it out, and that kind of thing. So this one, Fayetteville, 11% less room occupancy. This is a real shift out of them on the matter. The daily rates for Jacksonville and Onslow, they've been up. And Fayetteville's down every single day of the week for the whole market of the matter. And for the year to August, average rates were up for everything but the weekdays in Fayetteville, which obviously could not be offset. We currently have 24 facilities reporting for Jacksonville, which is a steady number. Onslow lost 2 out of the ones reporting. That doesn't necessarily mean they're no longer going to report. They just weren't in time for this report, or they chose not to participate this month. And then 45 facilities for Fayetteville. They have a long list of facilities there. So this is where you kind of look at that. The rooms here back from January to August, you'll see some room changes have really happened in there, whereas active rooms for Jacksonville, we 74%. In August, we now have 80% of the rooms in our market reporting regularly as it was. So that's really a good thing. And 86 rooms is the difference in that number, which represents almost a small hotel of itself in there. Onslow County, they've been pretty steady. The number did go up in the number of rooms for reporting for August, but this is only because their number in July was so far different. So the difference was much there. And we think that some of that's late reporting. And then Fayetteville, you'll see there, they've got 5,400 rooms, almost 5,500, and they reached that number in total for total active rooms in there, and they've got an 84% reporting factor that comes in here. And some of the stuff changed. They've also had, they're really hard to match up who's still operating, because they changed their names over there a lot for some reason. And this is the aggregate of that. Just bottom line to say that you can see how different the market is for Fayetteville and for Onslow is, and then Jacksonville is a subcomponent of that as it is. We are finding that more facilities are submitting, but they're not as regular it has been in the last 2 years or so in the matter. So let's look at what we've got there. Jacksonville, and the Jacksonville Blue there is in 64% for all the occupancy percentage report for this, for the month of August. 77% on the weekends, and 61%, almost 62% for weekdays as it is. So you can tell we definitely have that weekend strength in those things. And this has changed. It's all negative numbers for all of the markets there, and which is probably driving us those bean counters up there to make the prediction that they did on that matter. And then January to August, you can see that we're pretty steady on ours, and the variance has come for Fayetteville, which is our reference market in this area. And the January to August, again, it's all negatives in those regards there. We're just blessed to be at the 2% rate, and then, of course, for the county, they're around the 1.7 there as it was. This gives you a year in perspective with January through August, as you'll see for weekends, weekdays, and all days. I got asked a question by someone at the last one about that, and I just wanted to mention to you that this lets you at least see how variant it is from month to month as to what goes on. This is give you comparison for Onslow, and this is what it looks like for Fayetteville. This is the room rates, and this is one that we'd love to see what comes back about that, with what people are staying and what type of facility and such there. Bottom line is that we are seeing an increase in Jacksonville in every category here for that. And then we see for the January to July average rates that we're seeing there is also up over this period of time. I wanted to show you that because here's also one of the things that came out of the Visit NC webinar that we participated in. You'll notice that they are seeing over the state, this is through July, there's an increase in there. And Airbnb and HomeAway and such things like that are showing some increases on the matter. But that vacation rentals, they're all down except for the supply. So we continue to add numbers into the matter there. So that's my report to you folks, and that's the last slide.
A question. When you refer to Fayetteville, do any of their numbers represent Cumberland County? Or is
No,
it
it's
strictly the
just the
city
city.
limits?
It's just the city. The decision was made when String went out there for comparisons on the matter to go for the municipality. Of course, we wanted to get Onslow to see what was outside of the
Sure.
city limits. It's just like right across or so there. And it gives us a perspective of what Swansboro and Sneads Ferry and some of those areas are, how they're participating in that type of reference there too. So, all right, anything else?
Lynn, thank you
Okay.
very much. Appreciate that. So yes, that does bring us to the end of our agenda items. It gives us the director's opportunity for comment.
Just glad to be here. Great job.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? Well, I guess we're just all looking forward to tomorrow night, and, Susan, you going to talk to us? Oh. Yeah, we definitely are. I'll tell
She's
you
already
what.
celebrating, yes.
It is, it is. Yeah, glad you're here, and thank everybody for coming. Thank you for hard work y'all do, and appreciate everything. And if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.